to go, Politico. You seem to have cracked the code on who is funding the anti-Israel protests across college campuses. Unfortunately for Politico, the results probably won't surprise the rest of you out there watching this. A new article says the donors include some of the biggest names in Democrat circles: Soros, Rockefeller, Pritzker. The trail of donation shows a series of blurred lines when it comes to liberal causes and Democratic politics. Former NYPD Commissioner Ray Kelly says there needs to be a federal investigation.
But clearly, the money is coming from overseas and from Soros. And I think the federal government has an obligation to do an investigation here. It certainly looks like a conspiracy, with, as I say, these things happening spontaneously all over. So we need the federal government's investigative capacity to look at this whole situation.
Like gambling in Casablanca, such a shock. Joe Concha is a Fox News contributor. Joe joins us now. Joe, why? Why is it such a surprise to the people who should be in the know, i.e. journalists in the media, when it really is common knowledge to you, me, and everybody watching this at home that, yes, Democrats are connected. The ones funding Joe Biden are the same ones funding these protests.
Todd, we've been talking about this for many days, right? To quote the fictional officer John McClane of the NYPD, welcome to the party, Politico. Where is Merrick Garland, by the way? That's what I want to know. That's the U.S. Attorney General who loves to speak out about MAGA supporters being the biggest threat to this country, yet we've yet to hear almost anything from the Attorney General of the United States. Ray Kelly is exactly right. There needs to be a federal investigation behind these protests because, as we're seeing in terms of the numbers, many of these so-called protesters are paid operatives from money coming from places like George Soros or a Rockefeller Foundation or whoever. But the point is that this is something that's going to continue to go on all summer. It's going to plague the Democratic National Convention in Chicago. That we do know. And unless we stop that money flow, this is only going to get worse before it gets better, Todd.
But Joe, do you ultimately think if these are Democratic donors and Biden donors, do you think the DOJ under Joe Biden is going to go after them and upset them? I can't see that happening, no matter how good it would be for the nation.
Well, the thing is that this is not playing well politically, right, on your television screens on a daily basis, not just on Fox, but other media outlets obviously have to report this. You look at polls that have come out over the last week, Todd. Rasmussen, you have Joe Biden down by 12 points to Donald Trump nationally. In CNN, you have Joe Biden down 9 points nationally. Harvard-Harris, 7 points nationally. So this only shows chaos happening, and the American people are going to vote this party and this president out if this continues. They want to return to normalcy, and Donald Trump is seen as the law and order candidate far more than the man you're seeing on your screen right now, Joe Biden, Todd.
Well, that man you see on your screen is going to be streamlining his already very robust campaigning. He's going to be only doing certain things here and there. He's not going to be going out as much. Meantime, the other guy, Donald Trump, is everywhere, and including at Formula One Grand Prix in Miami. Here's how the crowd greeted him. Listen. Joe, you're the messaging guy. What message did that, what you saw on your screen and heard on your screen, combined with the UFC event a couple weeks ago, to pizza, to the firefighters, to meet with the construction workers, all that, what message collectively does that send?
It shows that one guy wants the job far more than the other guy. Donald Trump, he's in court all week, flies down to Miami, goes to this event, this Formula event, sporting event, and that response was overwhelming, as it was in Harlem, as it was in Midtown Manhattan with construction workers. So, yeah, and meanwhile, where's Joe Biden? He's back in Delaware once again, not campaigning, not showing that he wants the job. And sometimes that's what people vote on. Who wants this job more? Who wants to save this country more? And right now, it looks like Donald Trump, Todd.
The crew he visited won the race, Joe. You superstitious? What do you make of that? 20 seconds to you.
Wow. Okay, I did not know that, so thanks for sharing that information. All I know is, Todd, that President Trump will be in Wildwood, New Jersey on Saturday, and 40,000 people are expected in a blue state like that. Watch out. The map is expanding electorally, Todd.
And it's not even summer. Most people go to Wildwood, July, August, September. Trump's going in May. Joe Concha, thank you so much. Fox and Friends on a very busy Monday begins right now.
I'm Steve Doocy.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.